The community center at Willow Creek Estates had been designed to intimidate in its own petty way. White columns, American flag flapping, just so, and a meeting room with a projector screen that had shown more violation notices than family movies. I sat in the back row, the one closest to the exit, same seat I'd taken at every mandatory HOA meeting since I moved in 3 years ago. Today was different. Today, all 12 board members and a dozen concerned residents have been summoned for a special governance review. Linda Hargrove, our beloved HOA president, the Queen Karen of Willow Creek, sat at the head table like she owned the zip code. Perfectly coiffed blonde hair, pastel pink cardigan, and that smile that could curdle milk while quoting the covenants. Her lieutenants flanked her. Bob the treasurer who measured grass with a ruler, Susan the secretary who reported on mailbox colors, and the rest of the crew who lived for clipboard power. "Thank you all for coming on such short notice," Linda began, her voice dripping with that fake for the good of the community sweetness that made everyone's teeth itch. "We're here to discuss necessary updates to our bylaws to protect property values." I sipped my lukewarm coffee from the styrofoam cup and waited. The room smelled of stale coffee and self-importance. "As you all know," she continued, adjusting her pearls, "Willow Creek Estates was established to maintain the highest standards. Harmony, uniformity, success. Not everyone contributes equally." Bob leaned forward. Success being the key word, Linda. A few people chuckled nervously. I noticed Susan shift in her seat, avoiding my eyes. Linda opened her thick binder with a dramatic snap. "The current bylaws allow all homeowners equal access to amenities and voting rights. However, we need performance standards. This is a premium community, not a charity for slackers." The projector clicked on. "Let's review current resident contributions," Linda announced. Slide 1. The Johnsons' model family. Perfect lawn at exactly 2.75 inches, hosted 3 potlucks on the decor committee. Slide 2. The Millers led the holiday lighting initiative. 0 violations in 5 years. Each model resident got their praise. Then my slide appeared. A photo from my moving day, 3 years old. Text below, Maya Ellison. Frequent violations. Home office visible from street, eyesore. Non-participation in events. Questionable garden choices. Currently unemployed, status suspected. The room went that special kind of quiet. The kind where everyone was waiting for the execution. "Maya," Linda said, her voice full of that practiced disappointment. "We need to talk about your situation." "My situation?" I repeated calmly. "You're 32 years old," Susan chimed in, nails tapping her notepad. "You've had every opportunity in this beautiful community. The best schools nearby, the prestige of Willow Creek address. And what have you done? Work from home, doing who knows what. Your lawn had dandelions last spring. Your mailbox is the wrong shade of black. You don't attend our community building events." Bob jumped in. "You were warned multiple times. We've been patient, but at some point, Maya, you have to contribute. This neighborhood isn't a welfare program for people who think rules don't apply to them." I took another sip. My phone buzzed in my pocket. Probably my banker. I ignored it for now. The older board member, Mr. Thompson from across the street, cleared his throat. "The girl has a nice house, for God's sake. She should be out there making it a showcase. Instead, you're dragging down our property values." Linda stood up, commanding the room. "We've drafted an amendment. Homeowners must meet certain criteria to maintain full rights and avoid escalating fines. Active participation on at least 2 committees or documented community service hours. Perfect compliance score for 12 months. Or significant financial contributions beyond regular dues." I didn't meet any of those. "No, you don't," Linda confirmed with a fake sympathetic sigh. "We're voting today to approve the bylaw amendment and begin proceedings against non-compliant residents. This includes placing a lien on your property for accumulated violations and starting the process to protect the community from burdens." The room murmured. Linda looked around. all in favor of the bylaw amendment and initiating action against Maya Ellison. 12 hands went up quickly. Only one or two hesitated. The motion passes, Linda declared triumphantly. Maya, effective immediately, you're on notice. Your final warning period ends this month. I nodded slowly. Can I say something? Linda sighed theatrically. Maya, we've made our decision. This is for the good of everyone. I'm not arguing, I said calmly. I just want to understand the timeline. When exactly does this take effect? Today, Bob said firmly. Effective immediately means now. Your access to the community pool and events will be restricted starting next week, and the lien process begins Monday. Understood, I said, standing up. If we're done here, I have some calls to make. I walked out with my head high as whispers followed me. The parking lot was full of perfect SUVs. As I got in my car, my phone started ringing nonstop. The irony was delicious. These people who obsessed over grass height to the millimeter had no clue that the lazy burden they just voted out was the one quietly keeping their precious community center funded. They thought they were protecting property values. They were about to watch their entire little empire crack at the foundation because they never bothered to look under the perfect lawns. The elevator, well, the community center's creaky glass doors, closed behind me, and I answered the first call. It was Richard Chin from Capital Meridian Bank. Maya, thank God, he said immediately. I've been trying to reach you for an hour. The HOA board just submitted paperwork to draw down the full $2 million credit line we have secured against the Community Amenities Project. They're citing urgent expansion for the new pool and gatehouse. I stepped out into the blinding suburban sunlight, the kind that made every lawn look photoshopped. When did the request come through? 20 minutes ago. But here's the thing. You required us to notify you of any draws exceeding $500,000. That's in the loan covenants. I remembered. Every detail. If they pull $2 million right now, they'll be at 87% leverage across all facilities. One market hiccup or one more code violation they can't afford to fix, and the whole place is in serious trouble. I unlocked my modest sedan, nothing flashy, just reliable, and sat in the driver's seat without starting the engine. Richard, who's the actual borrower on that credit line? Willow Creek Estates, HOA LLC. And who guaranteed the loan? You did personally. The full $2 million is backed by your guarantee and the collateral in your investment portfolio. And who has the contractual right to freeze or terminate the credit line? Richard paused. You do. As guarantor, you have the right to pull your guarantee with 30 days notice, which would trigger immediate repayment. Send me the loan documents. All of them. Maya, are you thinking of pulling the guarantee? Just send them. I need to review some things. I hung up and immediately called Catherine Morrison at Silver Lake Capital. She answered on the first ring. Did you get my messages? The HOA board is trying to execute on that option to buy out the minority stake in a landscaping management company we co-own. Let me guess, I said. Watching a neighbor power wash is already perfect driveway in the distance. They need board approval. Yes. Emergency meeting called for Monday. They're offering $1.8 million for full acquisition. They claim they have financing in place. Do they? According to their treasurer, yes. But Maya, you control 40% through your Thornton Investments vehicles. You have the deciding votes. They can't do this without you. I pulled up my portfolio on my phone while a mockingbird laughed from a perfectly pruned tree. Through various shell companies and strategic acquisitions over the past 7 years, I'd built positions in 17 key vendors that serviced Willow Creek. The pool contractor, the security gate company, the landscaping firm, even a mailbox manufacturer that everyone hated but had to use. The board didn't know because I'd used my business name, Maya Thornton, for everything. My Wharton professors had helped set up the structures. The home office they find me for? It was the nerve center of an $800 million portfolio. Catherine, I need you to send me a complete analysis of the HOA's debt structure. Every credit line, every mortgage on common areas, every vendor contract. I want to know who holds what and when it comes due. That's going to take some time. You have until 5 p.m. Today. Maya, that's less than 6 hours. I know. Calling your whole team. Bill me whatever it costs. My phone buzzed with another call. David Kumar from my investment fund. Maya, what the hell is going on? I just got a very aggressive call from Bob the treasurer asking about our investment criteria for the Willow Creek Innovation Fund. I smiled despite myself. The fund was something I put together 3 years ago. It invested in prop tech for communities and provided bridge financing for HOA projects. The board thought it was run by some out-of-state firm. They didn't know I provided 100% of the capital, all $300 million of it. What did Bob want? He's claiming the HOA is entitled to preferential terms because of the neighborhood name. He wants a $750,000 commitment for their gate expansion at below market rate. What did you tell him? I told him I'd have to consult with our managing partner. He got very pushy. Said the residents of Willow Creek built this community and deserved respect. I almost laughed out loud in the quiet car. Keep it that way for now. Deny the investment request. Cite insufficient collateral and over-leverage concerns. Consider done. But Maya, is something happening? Just a board meeting. Nothing to worry about. I hung up and sat there thinking. My phone showed 1:47 p.m. By 5 p.m. Today, Linda's attorneys would file the bylaw amendment stripping me of rights. By 5 p.m. Today, the HOA would realize they couldn't access the capital they needed for their precious pool expansion. By 5 p.m. Today, the perfect little neighborhood would start understanding that something had gone very, very wrong. But they wouldn't know what. Not yet. I started the car and drove to my condo in the quiet cul-de-sac. Not the flashy McMansion they expected. They didn't know I'd sold it years ago under my business name. This was a modest 2-bedroom that I'd bought through Thornton Investments. My real office was here in the 2nd bedroom that no one on the board had ever seen. 3 monitors, direct feeds to 4 banks, real-time portfolio tracking worth just over $800 million. I'd build it piece by piece, starting with the $2 million from my grandmother when I was 23. The same grandmother who told me, those HOA people think rules are power. They're wrong. Money is protection. Never let anyone know how much you have until you need to use it. I had invested in community tech companies before they went public. I'd provided mezzanine financing to developers the board rejected. I'd bought minority stakes in every vendor they relied on. And over 7 years, I'd quietly become the largest outside financier in the entire Willow Creek operation. They thought I was unemployed. They thought I was a burden dragging down property values. They thought the regular dues I paid on time were charity. They had no idea I'd been subsidizing their pool parties and perfect lawns for years. The dark humor hit me then. All those fines for dandelions while I quietly paid for the sprinklers that kept everything green. My phone rang. It was Susan, the secretary, voice hushed like she was confessing a sin. Maya, I'm sorry about today. That was brutal. Linda went way overboard with the dandelion comment. It's fine, Susan. It's not fine. They humiliated you in front of everyone, and I just sat there and voted with them. You need anything? Wanted to bring over some cookies or something? I looked at my monitors showing real-time updates on the HOA's complete financial structure, the $2 million credit line I guaranteed, the landscaping contract I partially owned, the gate security system financed through my fund. I'm fine. Really? Come to the block party this weekend? Just as normal people. Maybe. I might be busy. Busy with what? Maya, I know you're probably devastated right now, but maybe this is a good thing. Maybe it'll motivate you to join a committee or something. I have to go, Susan. Another call coming in. I hung up and answered the unknown number. Is this Maya Thornton? A woman's voice asked. This is Rebecca Walsh from Willow Creek Accounting. I'm calling about some irregularities in our credit line documentation with Capital Meridian Bank. The paperwork lists you as guarantor, but that doesn't make sense. Do you know Maya Ellison? I smiled at the absurdity. I am Maya Ellison. Thornton is my business name. Silence. You're the same person Linda was talking about today. That's correct. But you guaranteed our $2 million credit line? Yes. The entire line? Yes. More silence. Then I need to call you back. She hung up. I checked my watch. 3:15 p.m. My email dinged. Catherine Morrison had sent her analysis. I opened it and started reading. Willow Creek debt structure, $2 million credit line with my guarantee. $1.5 million in bonds held by funds I influenced. $1.8 million in property-specific mortgages where I had relationships. $750,000 in vendor financing from companies where I held equity. Total debt, $3.6 million. Current assets, $800 million in managed value. It looked solid, except the pool expansion they were announcing would cost $2.2 million. They need to draw the full credit line and secure another $200,000 in bridge financing. The landscaping buyout would cost $1.8 million. The new gate project needed $900,000. Total $4.9 million in capital needed. They thought they had it lined up, but every single source either ran through me or required my approval. My phone rang again. It was Bob, the treasurer, his voice tight. Maya, I need to talk to you about something. We're getting strange inquiries from our banking partners. Do you know anything about Maya Thornton? That's my business name, I said calmly. Your what? My business name. I use it for investments. Why the hell would you need a business name? You don't have a business. Actually, I do. Several, technically. Maya, this isn't funny. Our bank is telling us that you personally guaranteed our credit line. That's impossible, right? You don't have that kind of money. Bob, did you ever wonder where I got the capital to live here, to travel, to maintain my lifestyle without a 9-to-5 job? The dues are only $3,000 a year. I spend about $1,000 annually. Where did you think the rest went? Silence. Why? What are you saying? I'm saying that my grandmother left me $2 million when I was 23. I invested it. I've been investing it for 9 years. I've been very successful. How successful? Successful enough to guarantee a $2 million credit line. I heard him breathing hard. You're telling me you have $2 million? I'm telling you I have enough assets to guarantee a $2 million loan. There's a difference. Jesus Christ. Does Linda know? Nobody knows. I use my business name for everything. I thought it was better that way. Maya, we need that credit line. We have major projects closing. Can you confirm with the bank that everything's fine? I could do that, I said slowly. But Bob, I'm no longer a full member in good standing, remember? As of today, I'm not a contributing resident. Why would I guarantee your loans? The line went dead quiet. Your accounting department will be calling back soon. She seemed confused about the documentation. You might want to clarify things with her. I hung up. 4:23 p.m. My email dinged again. Richard Chin. Bob just called demanding we process the credit draw immediately. He's threatening to move the HOA's banking relationship if we don't comply. Need your instructions ASAP. I typed back. Hold the draw until we speak tomorrow. I need to review the guarantee terms. Another email from my attorney Margaret Santos. Just received an urgent call from the HOA legal counsel. They want to schedule a meeting with you immediately about your investment holdings. I replied, perfect. No meetings until Monday. I'll brief you tomorrow. My phone started ringing continuously. Bob, Susan, Mr. Thompson, Linda. I silenced it and turned back to my monitors. At 4:47 p.m., my email exploded. Capital Meridian notifying the HOA that the $2 million credit line was frozen pending guarantor review. Silver Lake notifying that the Landscaping Management Board had denied the buyout due to insufficient financing. The Innovation Fund formally rejecting the gate project request. 3 vendors sending notices that payment terms were being revised due to leverage concerns. At 5 p.m. Exactly, I received an email from the HOA attorney confirming the bylaw amendment had been filed. At 5:03 p.m., Linda called for the 15th time. I answered. Why? Her voice was different now. Tight. Controlled. We need to talk. About what? Don't play games. I just got off the phone with Capital Meridian. They're saying you guaranteed our credit line. I did. And you're refusing to authorize the draw. I'm not refusing. I'm reviewing. That's my right as guarantor. Maya, we have $4.9 million in projects that need to close in the next 60 days. If we can't access that capital, You should have thought about that before you removed me from good standing. Silence. Long, heavy silence. This is about today, she said finally. This is about business, Linda. You taught me that community standards and personal feelings are separate. Remember? You said it at every single meeting I've ever attended. Why are you doing this? No, Linda. You listen. You called me a burden today in front of the entire neighborhood. You said I hadn't earned my place, that I hadn't contributed. We didn't know. You didn't know because you never asked. You assumed. You saw what you wanted to see, a dandelion in your perfect lawn. Maya, please. We can fix this. We'll reverse the bylaw amendment. It's 5:03 p.m. On Friday, I said, your legal team filed it 3 minutes ago. I'm no longer in good standing. By your own rules, I'm not contributing enough to be part of this community. That's not. So, starting Monday morning, I'm going to call Richard Chin at Capital Meridian. I'm going to exercise my right as guarantor to pull my guarantee with 30 days notice. That will trigger immediate repayment of $2 million. Maya, then I'm going to call Catherine Morrison at Silver Lake Capital. I'm going to vote against any and all expansion proposals at the next landscaping board meeting. You can't. Then I'm going to call David Kumar at the Innovation Fund. I'm going to shut down the fund and recall all committed capital. Linda's breathing was ragged. You destroy the community. I destroy your ability to expand. I corrected. You'd still have your existing amenities, your current dues revenue. You just have to operate on a much smaller scale, like a regular neighborhood, instead of a perfect little empire. Maya, I'm the president. And today, you told me I wasn't successful enough to be part of your community. So, I'm just following your lead. I'm separating business from neighborhood. Exactly like you taught me. What do you want? I don't want anything, Linda. This isn't a negotiation. Everyone makes mistakes. Yes, they do. You made 12 of them today. One for every board member who voted to remove me. I hung up. The phone immediately rang again. This time it was Bob. Maya, Linda just told me what's happening. This is insane. You're going to bankrupt the HOA over hurt feelings. I'm not going to bankrupt anything, I said calmly. I'm just withdrawing my financial support. Since I'm no longer in good standing, why would I continue to support the community projects? Because you're part of the neighborhood, Maya. Am I? Today, everyone agreed I wasn't contributing enough to be called neighbor. Susan specifically used the word burden, so I'm just removing the burden. Jesus Christ. Maya, do you have any idea how many people you'd hurt? Families, kids who use the pool, vendors who rely on our contracts. About as many people as would be hurt if the HOA over-leveraged itself with $4.9 million in new projects, I said. I'm actually protecting the community from a reckless expansion plan. This is revenge. This is business. You taught me that. Remember when you told me I needed to understand that personal feelings have no place in community decisions? I'm finally taking your advice. Bob hung up. My phone rang 4 more times. Susan, Mr. Thompson, the vice president. I ignored all of them. At 6:47 p.m., my doorbell rang. I checked the camera. Linda stood in the hallway, still in her pastel cardigan from the meeting. I opened the door. Maya, she said quietly. Can I come in? I stepped aside. She walked in and stopped, staring at my setup. 3 monitors, financial terminals, real-time market data. This is where you work, she said. Yes. She turned to face me. The board is in panic mode. Bob broke a coffee mug. Susan's blood pressure is through the roof. The lawyers are scrambling. 3 major vendors are demanding emergency meetings. I'm sorry to hear that. Are you, she asked. Are you sorry, Maya? Or is this exactly what you wanted? I didn't want anything, I said. I was perfectly happy letting you all think I was just another quiet homeowner. It made my life simpler. Why didn't you tell us? Would it have mattered? Would you have listened? Or would you have told me I was doing it wrong? That I should join the decor committee instead? That my investments weren't as impressive as the Johnsons' perfect potlucks? Linda sat down on my couch. We were wrong today. Yes. We humiliated you. Yes. and now you're going to destroy everything we've built. No, I said, I'm going to let you survive on what you've built without my money. If the HOA can't survive without my backing, then it was never as strong as you all thought. Please, Linda, I have over 800 million in assets. I built that from 2 million in less than 10 years. I did it quietly, carefully, strategically. I didn't brag. I didn't demand recognition. I just did the work. We didn't know because you didn't look. You saw what you expected to see. A disappointment, a burden, someone who needed tough love and rule enforcement. Linda's eyes filled with tears. What do you want us to do? I want you to understand that contribution doesn't look the same for everyone. I want you to understand that not being visible doesn't mean not being valuable. I want you to understand that you don't get to decide who's worthy based on committee hours and grass measurements. Can we fix this? I looked at her. Linda Hargrove, who'd never asked me about my life, who'd never wondered what I did all day, who'd assumed that because I wasn't on the decor committee, I wasn't doing anything important. The bylaw amendment is filed, I said. I'm officially not in good standing anymore. That was the board's decision. We'll reverse it. Will you? Or will you reverse it because you need my money? She didn't answer. That's what I thought, I said. Go home, Linda. Tell the board I'll call them Monday morning. We'll discuss terms then. Terms. Business terms. Since we're separating business from neighborhood, let's do it properly. She stood up slowly. At the door, she turned back. I'm sorry, Maya. Truly. I know, I said. But sorry doesn't fix systemic disrespect. She left. I closed the door and looked at my monitors. Willow Creek property values had dropped 4% in after-hours trading. Someone had leaked that their expansion plans were in jeopardy. My phone buzzed with a text from Susan. I don't understand what's happening, but I know you didn't deserve what happened today. I care about you. I texted back. I care about you too. See you soon. Then I drafted an email to my attorney, Margaret. Monday morning, I want to schedule meetings with Capital Meridian, Silver Lake Capital, and the Innovation Fund. I'll be restructuring my relationship with Willow Creek Estates, HOA. Please prepare documentation for the following. 1. Modification of personal guarantee to include oversight requirements. 2. Formalization of board seats at the landscaping and security companies. 3. Conversion of all vendor equity stakes to voting shares. 4. Establishment of independent financial review of all HOA expansion plans. I'll also need you to draft a formal business separation agreement between myself and all HOA entities. Let's discuss terms tomorrow. I hit send. Then I opened a bottle of wine, sat on my balcony, and watched the neighborhood lights come on one by one, all in approved warm white bulbs, of course. They thought they were removing a burden. They were about to learn they'd removed their foundation. And on Monday morning, we'd start building something new. The weekend passed in a blur of silence and strategic emails. By Sunday night, the entire board had left voicemails ranging from pleading to threatening. Linda's last one was classic Karen. Maya, this is hurting the children. Think of the pool parties. I almost laughed. The same woman who fined me $50 for one rogue dandelion, now begging me to save the pool she wanted to expand with my money. Monday morning arrived with perfect suburban sunshine. I dialed Richard Chin first. I've decided to exercise my right. 30-day notice to withdraw the guarantee. Immediate repayment required if they can't secure alternative financing. Richard whistled low. That's going to send shockwaves. The HOA will be in default within weeks. That's their problem now. They chose the rules. Next call to Catherine. Vote against every expansion proposal and prepare the paperwork to convert my stakes to controlling interest if they miss payments. Done. The landscaping company board is already panicking. David Kumar was last. Shut down new commitments. Recall existing bridge financing for the gate project. Consider done. Maya, they're going to feel this. They already are. By 10 a.m., the emails started flooding in. The HOA attorney demanding an emergency meeting. Linda's personal email. Please, we're willing to reverse the amendment today. Full membership restored. No liens. Just talk to us. I replied with one line. Business meeting only. My office. 2 p.m. Bring your financial team. The community center felt different when I walked in at 1:55. No projector this time. Just a long table and nervous faces. Linda sat at the head again, but the pearls were missing and her smile was gone. Bob looked like he hadn't slept. Susan kept staring at her notes. Thank you for coming, I said, taking the seat at the opposite end, the same one I'd sat in during the vote. Let's make this quick. I prepared term sheets. Linda cleared her throat, tried to reclaim dignity. Maya, we deeply regret the misunderstanding. The amendment is already reversed. You're back in full good standing. No fines, no liens. The community welcomes you with open arms. I slid the documents across the table. That's nice. But here's what actually happens now. 1. My guarantee stays, but with full oversight rights on every expenditure over $50,000. 2. I take board seats on the landscaping and security management companies. 3. All vendor contracts convert to include my approval. 4. The Innovation Fund will provide financing only after independent audit of your expansion plans. Bob's face turned purple. That's taking over the HOA. No, I corrected with a calm smile. That's removing the burden. You wanted performance standards. Now you have them. My performance is keeping this place solvent. Yours is measuring grass. Linda clutched the papers like they were burning her. This is blackmail. This is business, I said. The same business you taught me when you voted me out in front of everyone. The same business where you decided who contributes based on potlucks and paint colors. Funny how fast the rules change when the money stops. Susan finally spoke, voice small. What if we refuse? You can. The credit line gets called. The landscaping buyout dies. The gate project halts. Vendors raise prices. Property values drop another 10% by next quarter. Or you sign. The community stays funded, and we never mention dandelions again. The room was silent except for the hum of the air conditioning, the same system my fund had helped finance 2 years ago. Linda looked around at her lieutenants. No hands raised this time, just defeated nods. She signed first, then pushed the papers toward me. We accept the terms. Smart choice, I said, standing. One more thing. The next time someone suggests removing a resident for non-contribution, maybe ask what they actually do instead of assuming. Not every success comes with a clipboard. I walked out into the sunlight. The lawns looked exactly the same, perfect 2.75 inches. But the power dynamic had shifted forever. Behind me, I could hear Linda's voice cracking as she tried to spin it to the others. This is for the good of the community. The dark humor of it all made me smile. The ultimate Karen, reduced to begging the burden she tried to crush. Justice tasted better than any block party cookie. Word spread fast in Willow Creek. By Wednesday, the pool was still open, the grass still perfect, but the emergency board meeting notices had a new tone. Financial review with all members welcome. Susan texted me a photo of the agenda. My name listed first as strategic partner. The irony was so thick you could measure it with Bob's lawn ruler. I didn't attend. I didn't need to. My monitors showed the numbers stabilizing. The credit line stayed open under my oversight. The landscaping company board now included my appointee. Vendors sent polite compliance emails instead of violation notices. Even the mailbox company offered me a discount on the correct black shade. Linda tried one last power play on Thursday. She showed up at my door with a basket of artisanal cookies and a new violation notice, something about my solar panels reflecting unapproved light patterns. I took the cookies, scanned the notice, and smiled. Linda, remember the new terms? Any fine over $50 requires my approval now. Her face went the same shade as her old cardigan. This is different. It's about community aesthetics. It's about control, I said gently. And you lost that when you voted me out. Keep the cookies. Tell the board the solar panels stay. They're powering the community center lights you love so much. She left without another word. The next day, the violation notice disappeared from the portal. No explanation. Just gone. Susan called that evening. Maya, the neighborhood is buzzing. People are saying you saved us from bankruptcy. Linda's barely showing her face at events anymore. She keeps mumbling about outside influences. She's adjusting, I said. We all are. Thank you. Really. I voted wrong that day. We all did. Learn from it. Next time someone sits quietly at the back, maybe ask what they're building instead of assuming they're tearing things down. The call ended on a lighter note. By the following weekend, the block party happened. The one I'd been invited to before everything blew up. I went. The lawns were still perfect. The flags still exactly 3 by 5. But the conversations had changed. Neighbors asked real questions about my work. Bob even complimented my investment strategy instead of measuring my grass. Linda showed up late, pearls back in place, smile forced. She avoided my corner of the yard. When someone asked about the new gate project, she glanced at me before answering carefully. It's proceeding under revised oversight. For the good of the community, I raised my plastic cup of lemonade in a silent toast. The dark humor of the whole saga lingered like the smell of fresh-cut grass. They had tried to expel the foundation thinking it was dead weight. Instead, they'd exposed their own fragility. The lesson was simple and brutal. In a world obsessed with surface rules and visible contributions, the quiet ones holding the real power rarely announce themselves until it's too late. As the sun set over Willow Creek Estates, the lights came on, warm white, perfectly compliant. My balcony lights did the same. No fines, no drama, just quiet, undeniable control. They thought they were removing a burden. They had actually removed their blindfold. And the neighborhood would never be the same again.